because there's, biodiversity loss, which is perhaps an even greater threat than climate change, because, if all the bees disappear, there's nothing going to be left for us to eat. There's biodiversity loss, there's, the species extinctions, and there are so many other, the new pathogens that are sort of whirling around the world. So we can see that there are all these kinds of threats that are arising. You mentioned artificial intelligence, but the top brass in Silicon Valley, that's not the only thing they're worried about. They're all preparing for something that they call the event. Which is why they've created these getaway bunkers, on little islands here and there. So they're completely agnostic as to the cause, of the event, which they visualize as a complete collapse. So they think of runaway artificial intelligence being one vector of this, but they also think of many other things like runaway nanobots. That's one thing they're really scared of. They're also really terrified of something called the grey goo scenario, which is runaway nanobots, which create this kind of voracious mud that eats everything up. So there are many things to be scared of, And for now, really, I'm not that scared of artificial intelligence. I just wish artificial intelligence could get my name right. Half the time it doesn't.
Well, from that, let me really focus attention on the ecological crisis that we face today. As you have hinted that there are, it's in a sense a polycrisis, but there is a polycrisis within a polycrisis in the ecological field. And what you see today is that biodiversity loss, feedback loops with climate change. Just today there was a report from the World Meteorological Organization that last year was the hottest year on record, and 2025 is going to be even hotter than 2024. So there is no doubt that all these things are gathering together to create what may be called a perfect storm. What is it that you ascribe this, what I would say almost a collective blindness about? Because it is there, it is no longer something which may happen in the future. It is no longer something that you only sort of theoretically are trying to visualize. It is something which is happening here and now. Certainly no sign of loving the earth. But what is it that explains this kind of collective blindness? Because the people are talking about it, scientists are talking about it, sociologists are talking about the impact that is taking place on societies, on individuals, and yet there seems to be a remarkable sort of complacency about what is facing us.
I think there's an old saying about don't take people at their word, watch what they do. And I think that's what we really have to do. And I've been looking at, quite carefully at the sorts of statements that come out of, especially Silicon Valley, because these are the people who now literally control our world. And I think if you read between the lines, you can see very well that it's not that they don't have a plan. They do have a plan, and catastrophe is the plan. They think that essentially, the reason that they think in this way is that they think that when the event happens, that the great majority of the people who will die are people in the global south, they're poor, black and brown people, that in effect they're really thinking of the event as an exterminatory event. Because many of them are really, this theme of extermination runs through a lot of Western thought. And I think what we're really seeing is that, as it were, the re-emergence of a sort of exterminatory impulse, in this. So they really believe that, they're going to wipe half the world out while they're while they're lurking in their bunkers. Then after, what they call a Malthusian correction, they'll come out and take the world over again. But I think this,